So following the humiliating D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals hearing, Donald Trump's been nonstop on his social media, posting some of the most bizarre and unhinged stuff yet. Let's just go through it, and then I want to show you the contrast to what President Biden is posting. Here, Donald Trump writes, "Without immunity, it would be very hard for a president to enjoy his or her golden years of retirement. They would be under siege by radical, out-of-control prosecutors, much like I am, but without the retirement." He's saying that he can't enjoy his golden years. I mean, and by the way, if I were him, I would stop doing references to things that are golden. And also, he keeps on giving references to fumes. Given all of the stuff that we've learned about him, I wouldn't do that either. Here's Donald Trump talking about the fumes. Play this clip.
We have an economy that's incredible. We have an economy that's so fragile. And the only reason it's running now is it's running off the fumes of what we did, what the Trump administration. It's just running off the fumes.
Then you hear him say that the reason the economy is doing well is because it's his fumes. Yeah, it's not your fumes. That's also not the way the fumes work. It doesn't get better when we're dealing with fumes. But here's what Donald Trump posts next. He goes, "If they take away my immunity, they take away crooked Joe Biden's immunity. Without immunity, it would be very hard for a president to properly function." Actually, it wouldn't. And it's actually quite a horrific thing that your lawyers argued during the oral argument that it would be okay and subject to absolute immunity if a president ordered SEAL Team 6 to kill their political rival, that absolute immunity could be invoked in that situation. And if you don't commit criminal conduct, then you don't have to worry about that. Oh, by the way, just an interesting point that I want to share with everybody here. Notice that Donald Trump's lawyers made the exact opposite argument regarding the impeachment judgment clause. While Donald Trump was being impeached, his lawyers argued that Donald Trump was subject to criminal prosecution, and that's why an impeachment was not warranted at that time. Just take a look at what Trump argued here, because his lawyers made the exact opposite argument in court on Tuesday, where they said the president is absolutely immune. Former presidents are absolutely immune unless there is an impeachment and conviction. Remember this? Just a nice flashback for you. Play this clip.
Article 1, Section 3 says, "Judgments in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold any office of honor, trust, profit under the United States, but the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law." So this idea of a January amnesty is nonsense. If my colleagues on this side of the chamber actually think that President Trump committed a criminal offense, and let's understand, a high crime is a felony and a misdemeanor is a misdemeanor. The words haven't changed that much over the time. After he's out of office, you go and arrest him. So there is no opportunity where the President of the United States can run rampant in January, the end of his term, and just go away scot-free. The Department of Justice does know what to do with such people.
Then Donald Trump made other posts. He made these other bizarre videos of himself that he posted over and over and over again. But then there was this post right here that caught my attention. And I previously had done a story about Roger Stone saying something similar. And this is what we're going to see more and more MAGA Republicans do to try to weaponize artificial intelligence. So here's what Donald Trump puts out. He writes, "This is what the Democrats do to their Republican opponents, who is leading them by a lot in the polls. This is AI, and it's very dangerous for our country. Also, I was never on Epstein's plane or at his stupid island. Strong laws ought to be developed against AI. It will be a big and very dangerous problem in the future. So right there, you have Donald Trump saying that the reason his name appears over and over again on Epstein's flight log, the reason his name comes up always in connection with Epstein, the reason I suppose that Donald Trump said that Epstein's a great guy. Donald Trump claims all of this is actually AI. It's artificial intelligence, and it's all a fabrication. It's all fake news. This is a strategy we're going to see MAGA Republicans deploy over and over again. They're going to use AI to put out disinformation, and things that are true, they are going to argue is all AI. It's AI, and that's why all of this is coming out, because it's just AI. And by the way, this is the article from Mediaite. Roger Stone spoke with Cop Pal about assassinating Eric Swalwell and Jerry Nadler. The article talks about a recording between Roger Stone talking to his pal and saying, it's time to do it. Let's go find Eric Swalwell. It's time to do it. Then we'll see how brave the rest of them are. It's time to do it. It's either Nadler or Swalwell has to die before the election. They need to get the message. Let's go find Swalwell and get this over with. I'm just not putting up with this shit anymore, they say. And then when Roger Stone was asked about this audio recording of him saying this, Stone's remarks were, Stone denied making those comments, claiming they were generated by AI. He has previously claimed videos of his comments are actually deep fakes. In response to a request for comment on the remarks at Swalwell and Nadler, Stone said, total nonsense. I've never said anything of the kind. More AI manipulation. You asked me to respond to audios that you don't let me hear, and you don't identify the source. Absurd. Compare that to what Donald Trump just posted, where he said strong laws ought to be developed against AI. It will be a big and very dangerous problem in the future. And all of the links of Donald Trump to Epstein, and there are many, 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 including Donald Trump's own words. Donald Trump's response now is, that's AI, that's AI. And that's what he's going to do. The same way he says, that's fake news, that's fake news. He's going to say, that's AI, that's AI. So just to take a look at what Donald Trump is claiming is AI, here are all the flight logs, and Donald Trump is on 7 of these flight logs, a frequent flyer on Epstein's plane, even though Donald Trump himself had a plane. Here is a deposition transcript that was released recently in connection with one of these civil cases against Epstein that talks about how when they were landing the plane, Jeffrey said, great, we'll call up Trump. We'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino, saying he's going to bring a victim to one of Trump's casinos. There's, of course, also Donald Trump's own words to the New York Magazine. He said that he thought Epstein was a terrific guy and noted his penchant for pursuing women on the younger side. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. There's also this article from 1997 in a British paper that talks about how Ghislaine Maxwell, who they refer to as Madam Maxwell, introduced a 20-year-old girl, Anushka, who was one of the victims of Epstein that we've now learned. And Anushka was introduced to Donald Trump by Ghislaine Maxwell. And it talks about how Donald Trump installed Anushka in one of his many apartments. And then it talks about how Ghislaine was the one who introduced, after their meeting, Trump flew Madam Maxwell and the model south to the Sunshine State before then installing her, Anushka, in an apartment. Here, by the way, is just at Ghislaine's trial. It talks about how a witness testified that Epstein drove her to Mar-a-Lago to meet Donald Trump when she was just 14 years old. There's a Guardian article that talks about how Donald Trump would attend these parties on yachts and boats, where girls as young as 14 danced under disco lights and grinded on adult men. And there's another man who was at this party who said, can you get some of the beautiful women around me? And girls as young as 14 years old were dancing with these older men on these yacht trips. There's Donald Trump's own words talking about walking in on girls at the Miss Teen USA events that he would hold, and he would say that he was inspecting it. And by the way, he said it on Howard Stern, so just here's Donald Trump saying it in his own words, so you can hear him say it. Play this clip.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else, and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
But now Donald Trump's response to all of that is that that's all AI. That's all AI, he would say. By the way, one of the other posts, Donald Trump shared a false claim that Nikki Haley is ineligible and that Nikki Haley should be removed from the ballot. Donald Trump reposts this article. It's another birther type conspiracy that Donald Trump's spreading as his poll numbers are getting worse in New Hampshire and Nikki Haley's on the rise. Donald Trump reposts this that says Nikki Haley's parents were not U.S. citizens at the time of her birth in 1972, and based on the Constitution, that disqualifies her under the 12th Amendment. So Donald Trump saying Nikki Haley should be disqualified, and that's what he's posting over and over again. And I just want to compare this for a moment to what President Biden is posting. If you take a look at President Biden's post, the Biden-Harris campaign responded to Donald Trump publicly wishing for an economic crash in the next 12 months. Donald Trump said that he's hoping the economy crashes in the next 12 months because that would be good for Donald Trump. I showed that video before in in another one, another hot take that I did. President Biden also, show you his post right here, talking about things that actually matter to the American people. Let me be clear for those who don't seem to know, slavery was the cause of the Civil War. You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-American. Joe Biden goes on to say how Donald Trump's a loser. The defeated former president is wrong. We don't have to, quote, get over it. We have to stop it. There's no excuse for this carnage. And Donald Trump was saying that people need to just get over school shootings. And President Biden talks about how Trump proudly posts on social media that the word that best describes him are revenge, power, and dictatorship. There's no confusion about who Trump is and what he intends to do. And so the contrast cannot be clear. And then, of course, compare that to Donald Trump creating a video of himself that he posts on his own social media saying that that everybody knows, that every legal expert knows that New York Attorney General Letitia James is a racist scoundrel with total power and control over the judge. So what Donald Trump says here, play this video he made of himself.
Almost all experts and legal analysts have stated for all to see that the litigation before Judge Engoron is a sham and a disgrace, a dark time in the New York judicial history. It's a very fabled history. Mostly good, but this is a very bad time. The Attorney General, Letitia James, is a racist scoundrel who thinks she has total power and control over the judge. And we'll see if the judge is going to do the right thing. But so far, it's been a very unfair witch hunt, and the whole country is watching.
And so, folks, what we have to focus on here is normalcy, competence. We just have to focus on calling out what is clear as ever and what this election is all about and what this moment is all about. So please, let's get out the facts. Let's get out the truth. Let's be very aware about what these MAGA Republicans are going to claim, how they're going to manipulate AI. That's going to be their new way to claim fake news. And let's make sure that we're just getting the facts out there to the people, and they understand the tactics that are being used by Donald Trump and MAGA. So thanks for watching this. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. And check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.